Chicago's known for a bunch of different foods, but none is probably more famous or infamous, depending on who you ask, than deep dish pizza. So today we're gonna scoot all around the city and take you to some of the most popular spots doing deep dish. And then at the end of the video, we're gonna tell you which ones we like most and why. And I can think of nobody better qualified to help us on this mission than this man right here. Oh. Chef Leo, baby. Chef Leo Spizzirri has been making pizza since he was 12 years old. This Chicago native's family is originally from southern Italy, so pizza literally runs in his blood. Matter of fact, he has a master certification for every single style of Italian pizza that exists. He was also the corporate executive chef for the legendary Chicago institution Giordano's, where he managed the pizza for over 40 locations. Now, you can find Leo using his experience to consult for aspiring pizzeria operators. He does demos all over the country and is the director of education at the Pizza University in Maryland. In other words, Leo is a fantastic dude with extensive pizza knowledge. He's an expert pizza maker who respects traditional Italian styles, but also has a deep understanding of the American pizza scene, so that makes him the perfect partner for our deep dish adventure today. He's also just a great dude, so yeah, you guys are gonna dig this guy. First spot, Malnati's. If you're not from the city and you know about deep dish pizza, you've probably heard of this spot. It's classic.
I was at the pizza festival last year and Mark Malnati was there. And he actually talked about being a kid sitting at these tables in this Lincolnwood location while his dad and everybody else was in the kitchen making this historic pizza. It's really cool to hear, you know, again, a little kid growing up in this business. Can you imagine doing your homework at these tables and then run in the back to get a slice of pizza and then come back out and continue working? Like,
that's awesome.
It's really awesome.
Totally. So which one is this? This is the Chicago Classic.
I'm excited to see this. Oh, this is interesting. This piece of plastic, this is pretty old school. What this does is two things. Number one, you can see like all those juices and everything under here. It kind of keeps everything underneath. Two, it keeps everything off the top of this box. As we peel this off, this is gonna stay nice and warm. And I bet if we pull this really nice, you'll actually probably see some cheese pull out of this. What did I say? Look, you can actually see the steam. And a lot of that has to do with this cheap little piece of plastic.
Look, dude, I feel like the grandma from
I was gonna say,
Halloween
I feel like I'm traveling with my grandma with all this stuff in your trunk, just in case there's an emergency. Man, it's the good Dixie ones, too.
Oh, you can't skimp out for something like this, man. We gotta throw respect on the name. LOL.
You even got a spatula.
Yes, sir.
Good for you.
Boom.
This pizza is actually the dough is put into a pan and then pressed up the sides of the pan.
When you think deep dish, people think fork and a knife, they think casserole, but like with this one, you could pick it up and straight up eat it normally.
Part of their branding from the beginning was always that this pizza was meant to be eaten as a slice of pizza in your hand, not with a knife and fork.
Love that.
The crust is not overly oily. While this has a lot of oil in this dough, it's flaky. The outside has a texture to it. Maybe it leaves a little touch more salt.
This is cooked sauce, right?
I think that with the extended bake time, there might be a raw sauce going on and finishing in the oven.
Got it.
I notice a lot of garlic, right? For my taste, it's all garlic and I don't really taste anything else. I do like what you just said about the tomato. Those chunks of tomatoes are really bright. They come through. Look at the layers. You can still see the flakiness underneath. You see like the sausage, how they pinch it, it's actually pretty thick. Thicker than we would normally probably see on most pizza.
Totally. The smell of the butter crust and the taste of the sausage is what I think of and what always reminds me of Lou's here. It looks a little pale, but it's also like really nice and golden brown, and that thing can take a beating.
Snappy, right? I would guarantee that's probably Wisconsin cheese, Midwest pizza, and I think that this checks all the boxes. If we're gonna eat this, this is why this is usually one of our favorites.
It's Lou's, baby. There's nothing wrong with it. It's time tested. It's been here since before us. It's gonna be here when we're long gone. Know what I mean?
I agree.
And with that, I think we move on to the next spot. What do you think?
This is definitely a much thinner crust. And one thing about when we looked in and we got the pizza from in here, I noticed they were baking in a impingement oven.
Impingement.
Yes, so it's like a kind of like a conveyor belt oven. This crust being this thin probably works better in a type of oven like that. It's very small place in there.
Yeah,
so I would bet that that has something to do with it. Another thing, without even tasting this yet, I noticed that all these vegetables are raw.
Totally,
So
yeah, fresh.
Raw, fresh, mushrooms, peppers,
Look at the
onions.
spinach. Look at the color on that spinach before you take a bite. It's
Spinach
bright
looks
green.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm not a huge fan of raw vegetables.
We'll see.
We will see. So definitely different than the last one. This one we're trying to hold it up with our hand and it just wants to fall apart.
It just wants, it's almost soggy, dare I say, on the bottom a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that unfortunately part of this is because of that oven. Like that pizza never has a chance to bake really crispy underneath. While there's a lot of color, I would almost beg to differ that the color in this dough comes from probably a lot of sugar or something in there to help caramelize the crust.
And from that oven with all that heat coming up on top there, you can see it almost looks artificially browned in a way, like with a torch or something.
And it's really just those dry herbs.
And even on the crust too.
Yeah. While the crunchy vegetables are nice, they're obviously not overcooked, they don't play nice with this, especially on a veggie pizza like this. It's wet, it's soggy. This definitely would benefit from cooking those vegetables. You can actually see the pooling of the water on the side edge of the crust here. WAP,
Yeah.
wet ass pizza.
Wop, wop, wop. That'd be some wop.
Because I'm Italian, we don't say that word.
We're gonna say it with a Chicago accent. Whap.
I think that, again, this could be a good pizza if it's probably done a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I think it's execution in process and procedure that could take this over the top, and I think they definitely need some help. Guys, if you're watching this, call me. That's what I do for a living.
But also, I mean, one thing that I gotta say before we wrap this up, I think this could be the dopest branding.
I love it.
This
right?
is amazing. I love the chandelier that resembles to me like a tavern in Chicago or something like that.
Pizza Hut had those awesome.
Yeah,
They're
you're right.
historic now.
But that's way doper than Pizza
Wait,
Hut's.
look at that. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Frankie, bend over.
We're at good old Bartoli's. I believe this is the grandson of one of the guys who opened up Gino's East.
Well, that's very interesting that
Yeah.
you say that, because the first thing you see on this pie, if you know, is that cornmeal crust.
Look at that
which
color.
goes back to Gino's East.
Okay.
That's what they do.
I
And
didn't know
this
that.
pie, seeing it just in the box when we open this up, is very reminiscent of Gino's East. See
Yeah,
how
that's what I'm
yellow
saying.
tip
It's a
is?
beautiful color.
Because there's cornmeal in this.
Yeah, man. Dude, is this a fork and a knifer?
This has to be, because
think I-
I'm just holding this in my hand.
Yeah,
This
it's
pizza
not
is
gonna
a
work.
12-inch pizza cut into 6 pieces, and this has to be 16 ounces, 1 pound of pizza on this sturdy Dixie plate. This is, by the way, the Dixie Ultra.
In my bag of tricks, I got 2 forks, 1 knife, so we're gonna get to know each other.
Oh, isn't there a show about that? I like that they put the sausage on top of this thing, which gives it more penetration and heat from the top.
Yep.
The other thing too about this pizza, they let us see the oven. This is one of those historic Chicago places with an old school oven. The oven looks like a Ferris wheel. When places close down that have these ovens in there, guys are literally waiting in line to bid on taking those ovens apart so that they can bring them somewhere else. And when they take these things apart to work on them, literally 2 guys will walk inside of them. It's like an old Buick. It's really easy to work on. The parts are still readily available. If they break down on a Friday night, there's a side panel that you could open up like a closet door and walk in there and change a belt or look at the igniter.
Realistically, you can probably park like a Volkswagen in there.
It's amazing to see that these guys are still using them, and this is a testament to why we still have those ovens around.
I got a fat chunk of cheese. Let me try the sauce. The sauce itself, super rich, very, very cooked, dark, robust, not light.
Really sweet on that sauce. Back in the day though, this was a very traditional sauce that you would have seen. Believe it or not, I have people that taste pizza sauce in my world that say, this is too tomatoey. And you say, what the heck is it? It's a tomato. What's it supposed to taste like? Because in their minds, they want more of that sugar, more of that sweetness, heavy herbs, which this has. You could taste the flavor of those herbs. Yeah, but look at you, you'd see like that cornmeal. It almost looks like a biscuit.
Yeah, it does, and it kind of eats like one too.
This reminds me of a pizza that I'm eating like at a Cubs game or watch the Blackhawks if you have a piece of pizza. This is what I expect for this style of pizza.
100%.
That chunky tomato, a lot of flavor to it. This one is a lot sweeter than we've had. But again, I think it hits a lot of the marks of what is a Chicago deep dish pizza and what does it look like. And I think that that's that.
All right, Leo, we got to talk about this, man. Of the Chicago-style pizzas, what do we got?
Traditional, we would say it's our thin crust, tavern, cracker. We have a lot of designations on that thin crust pizza we eat here in Chicago. Deep dish, which we just had. Stuffed pizza, which is another pizza in a pan. We also have a pan variety, which is dough that's pushed up, like kind of pushed into the pan up the sides, a little more doughy.
Deep dish, man. Like, we kind of hinted at it earlier. It's not necessarily the pizza that I personally, and I know you don't personally, like, go for when you think, I want some pizza today. It's not gonna be your first option. Maybe you reserve it for when people come in to visit.
When I tell my family, hey, you guys wanna have pizza, more than likely my family eats pizza almost every day because I've always got something around, right? Or I'm making it or whatever. While it's not the one style of pizza that I gravitate to, I will say that we get a taste for it once in a while. And it'll be like, come on, you guys want to go for a deep dish or a stuffed or whatever, and let's just go get that pizza. It fills a need. Yes, we eat a lot more tavern style than deep dish or stuffed pizza, but there are locals that we don't wait until we have visitors come in from out of town. They will actually say, you know what, let's go grab a pizza, let's go get a deep dish.
All right, so this is what we got here. This is what is this here? We got a Supreme.
It's kind of like a Supreme. Sausage,
Yeah.
pepperoni, mushroom, onion, green pepper. And you know, the thing over here too, look at the, another one where super thin cut vegetables, but they're raw. And then same chunky tomatoes. This crust looks totally different.
Totally, they're super well done, which I really like.
And
It's very rigid.
Flaky.
Ooh, baby, look at that.
Look at that. Oh, look what we got, the patty.
Oh, hell yeah, we're looking for that. Huge slab, that's what we're talking about. Yep.
That's all sausage. Really robust, a lot of garlic. So let's talk about this, because there's a lot of similarities to what we had here to the first pizza at Lou's.
Yep.
So the Lou's story, from where I heard it, is that Lou Malnati used to work here. There were some other people involved, but then when they split off and they started their own locations, that Lou pizza is very reminiscent. And this, I don't know if it's in the tomato sauce or in the sauce.
It's gotta be, the sauce is bright, just like Lou's.
But it is, and it's very, like that pronounced garlic to this. Crust is different.
Much more tender.
If you ever had a pizza that was cooked in a cast iron skillet, this has that bite, very flaky.
Almost pie-like, which is
Yes.
great because you're getting that well done cook that can really hold the integrity of this pizza. Look at that, there is no flop here. Super tender, lots of fat in the crust, right? Yeah, oh yeah, that's nice.
I don't know if I'm a big fan of that slab of meat.
It's too much. It's too much.
Too much, it gets in the way, and it's just that extra amount of grease that it brings. You can't get away from it. Some people are like crazy sausage fanatics, but this is a little over the top for me.
I was gonna say, like on paper before this, I was gonna say I actually like this more, but those crumbles, specifically I'm thinking about Lou's and the Bartolis, how they're like kind of scattered throughout the pie and you get that nice bite, maybe a half bite of that sausage.
Yeah, Lou was
it's
like
much more balanced.
Yeah, it was like almost like a small boulder, like a flat boulder.
Yeah.
And
Like a
I
nugget,
think,
almost.
yeah, and it was like a nice surprise, perfect bite.
Yeah.
This is just like an entire mouthful of sausage.
Well, look at, I mean, it is a pretty pizza though.
Yep.
This is,
The crust is nice.
just look at that. If you're staying in the city, chances are people at your hotel are gonna tell you to go here. Is this the oldest pizzeria in Chicago? 1940.
Uno's, I think, is the oldest.
These were the first guys to bring deep dish into the zeitgeist and make it a thing, which is really cool and historical. We gotta mention Due's. What's good with Due's?
So Due was like the second location. So we have Uno, and then down the block, this is the second one.
It is to take the overflow of customers.
I don't know exactly why they opened up so close to each other, but
Same people, same pizza, which is why we're not going there.
80 years of deep dish pizza.
I mean, the building looks the same. It's beautiful. All right, here we are, Gino's East, baby, on the rooftop. Not sure if we should be here or not.
Cornmeal crust.
Yes, sir.
You hit a lot of marks, but look at the sauce on this. No chunks, it's smooth.
Unlike the other ones we've been having, this is the first smooth sauce.
It's got
of the day.
it's got some pulp, but it's not those big chunks. These spots, can I tell you what that is? These are markers. So what's inside this pizza?
Cheese.
this is a cheese pizza. So when they see it mixed in with all the other ones, and they see your ticket come down the line, they say cheese. Oh, that's how you know.
So it's softer for sure.
Look at it, it's got the pull.
Still got a nice pull going. That cheese hockey puck just came right off. Definitely has some give on it. Very cornmealy and yellow.
A little bit less color on the bottom. Flop,
very pale.
right? But again, that same bite that we just saw at Uno, how that crust is, that kind of short bite.
Right, very similar.
But this has all this cornmeal. It's very actually light and airy. It's crumbly, but it's got a lightness to it, right?
Yeah, very light, very light.
They had enough yeast, and they raised it.
I like that. I don't like the flop. I like when it has some more integrity to it. It is light, and we will say, if there's one pizzeria that you probably might know before clicking on this video, besides like Malnati's and stuff, it's got to be Gino's East. They have a frozen pizza line. They're all over the country, right?
This is very different than the frozen one. Frozen one seems like mass-produced. You're out of the state.
It's different.
You got a taste for a Gino's East pizza, and you're gonna get one for your freezer. You know.
Yeah.
Again, this is that knife and fork, classic, thick pizza, heavy. I don't know about the mozzarella in this. It kind of looks like it's soft.
There you go, look at that. Oh, nothing like cheese in the hot summer sun, you know what I mean? Huge flex wearing the white shirt, not getting any sauce on it. That's how you know this man's a professional.
I've been white all day long, and this is one of my moves. And knowing how to move the shelf so that it's not in the way of the flop.
The white on white. I don't think I've ever worn a white shirt and not gotten some sort of sauce or dirt on it.
Look at that, dude.
That's gotta be a 2-footer. So want me to hit that?
Dude.
Hand it up. Keep going, keep going. Right when I touch it, the magic is broken.
If I had to make a guess, I would say that this is probably part skim, low moisture part skim mozzarella.
Stretchy, really stretchy.
These guys had some controversy back in the day because there was some, allegedly, that when this was sold and became corporate, they tried to cheapen up the crust and there was no more cornmeal in it. It was food coloring.
There's always going to be that battle when a company decides to go corporate and big like that. You know what I mean? Between like integrity versus the money guys who are like, yeah, lace it with fake cornmeal.
You can actually see the cornmeal in this crust. I can actually see it in there. So this is actually legit. So whatever the myth was back in the day, because being a guy from Chicago in the pizza business, we heard that rumor a lot. But I can definitely clarify it and clean it up right now. There's definitely cornmeal in it.
I gotta say, I don't think there's anything wrong with this pie, and I'm gonna be completely frank here. I was expecting the least from this place just because it's so mass produced, and it's kind of got this, like, I hate saying this, but like touristy air to it, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, I just didn't think it was gonna be anything special, and let's just say right now, I like it more than at least one other pizzeria on our list. Paisanos. So this one we got the Rudy's Special, which again is that Chicago smog, that green pepper, mushroom, onion.
Sausage.
You don't
know how to spell?
No.
S-M-O-G.
That's why it's smog. I was thinking like pollution. I'm like, this wasn't that bad.
Sausage, mushroom, onion, green pepper.
The smog,
Freaking
baby.
guy.
The more you know. I can't read. Here we are. Cristo.
Look at that cheese.
Look at that drape.
It didn't even want to break off.
No, it's stronger.
You just don't know how to pull. That's why.
Dude, I pull. You kidding me, dude? That crust here is nice and dark. It's got a little bit of flop to it. The oregano is very pronounced too. It's like that.
Look at this. Look at this. How stringy that cheese is.
It's different, right?
It's got grainy.
Yeah.
There. Very chewy, right?
It raced the roof of my mouth.
The crust is like brittle. It's just dense, hard, toothy, I think is the best word. Like you bite into it, and it's almost like it's sticking to your teeth. I get stuck.
You've got that gumminess to it right here.
Yep. The sauce has got those chunks like we've seen before.
Definitely a little more cooked too. Not as fresh as the Lou's, or what was the other place with the fresher sauce that we like?
Bartoli's.
Yeah, Bartoli's had the fresh sauce that was akin to that.
I wanna get a knife and a fork just to see the layers behind
I got
it.
a knife and a fork.
You do? I'll take it. Because I want to pick this apart.
Swing.
So let's see what's going on right. Look at that little chunk. Is that garlic? That is garlic.
Looks like these little clove of garlic.
Here's a piece of sausage.
The cheese is a lot more like
Dense.
kind of rubbery.
It is rubbery. I don't know why that is. Maybe this pizza is suffering because maybe it sat for a little bit
Yeah,
before
who knows?
we got it.
Who knows?
But I mean, we waited for them to bring this to us, so the bread's not doing it any favors.
No, and it's kind of soggy and a little floppy as well.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this place. So you see this guy's name everywhere. Malnati Jr., Rudy, right? So Paisanos, explain that sort of like arc.
This might not be exactly how the story goes, but the gist of it is this. These guys were all at Uno's. Uno's opens up. They got these two guys in the kitchen, right? Rudy and Lou. The guy who owns Uno is a guy named Ike Sewell, and he's a business guy. Comes, opens up this pizza joint, has these two Italian guys in the kitchen making pizzas, starting to build an empire. These guys are getting busy, right? All of a sudden, he's promising that you're gonna have a piece of this, you know, you guys are working hard, you're gonna have a piece of this. They get to the point where they open, from Uno's, they open a second location, do it. All of a sudden, here comes the place, no partnership, no money. Got pissed off, he says, we're out. And they walked. Rudy went to open Paisanos, Lou goes to open Lou Malnati's, and the rest is history. So to hear all of this historic information and then the similarities from Uno's as you go through.
All of the spots that you were just talking about, they're all connected in one way or another, sort of, except for that My Pie place, which is kind of its own thing.
It was a little different, but when we see how thin this crust is,
Yeah.
that's kind of where my pie was at. That really thin exterior border, and that's totally what you have here. We've seen all the similarities in this realm, and seeing some of these, if I was a tourist, saying I was gonna do or watch this video, and I'm gonna hit all these spots and recreate the pizza crawl that we did, I can see where sometimes a tourist would go back home and say, man, I had all these deep dish pizzas and it's a belly buster, or like, ooh, I got agita, or like all this other stuff, because it is a very different pizza than
It's hard.
everywhere else.
And we're doing a crawl here. This is probably maybe the only type of pizza that it's kind of tough to do a crawl with. They offer you plates, forks, and knives with your pizza. You're supposed to sit and eat this pizza. It's not an on-the-go thing. It's not a quick fold do. It's a meal. We're sitting at a table right now at a park randomly somewhere in Chicago. I think we have a lot of good notes. I think we got to eat a lot of interesting, different, surprisingly unique and different pizzas that are all deep dish, but now we got to choose what our favorite one is. So let's head back to the crib and figure it out. We can talk on the way back.
Let's go.
That was an insane whirlwind of a day.
Dude, we ate a lot of pizza today.
Not only pizza, deep dish. Some people call it the above ground swimming pool, which I resent but also think is really creative and funny.
That's right.
A lot of meanings there.
But as we saw in some of these pizzas today, swimming pool, some of these pizzas were swimming in liquid.
Very moist.
Moist
very
is
moist.
a good
and it's not always the best, you know what I mean, especially with this style, but we're here to talk about the best, which one we like the most. Of the 6 places that we went to today, which did you like the most?
I think to me, it was a clear winner. I would say that I probably thought the Lou Malnati's was the strongest that we ate. What about you?
Why do you like the Lou's the most?
The thing that stuck out to me, for all of these styles of pizza, it's known as a heavy pizza, right? Kind of like that belly filler, right? A big, heavy slice. But Lou's had this one thing going on that nobody else did. Each ingredient I was able to taste individually. It wasn't just a bunch of slop and a pizza and then go ahead and shove it in your mouth. The tomato sauce was fresh, it was zesty. The sausage, like those beautiful boulders of sausage pressed down. The amount of cheese was perfect in that layer. Nice cheese pull. It seemed like it was good mozzarella. And then that crust, the crust was really the star because we were able to lift that piece of pizza up, and it literally, we could eat it with our hands. It didn't flop really. It was a perfect bite for a pizza that's considered really heavy.
My favorite of the day, and the contrarian in me wants to do something else, just to do something else, but I gotta tell it how it is. It's gotta be Lou's. I know that's kind of like, it seems cop-outy, but it's just true. We had only talked briefly about this, but the reason I really liked it is because I really liked that butter crust held up really nicely. The flavor was just there. But also the reason why I really like Lou's is because of the sauce. It's super vibrantly red and almost fresh. It's not fresh, this is cooked on the pizza and stuff, but it hit that balance between it was zingy and tangy enough, but also kind of like rich and satisfying. Whereas some of these, it was just like eating tomato paste sometimes.
Those chunks of tomatoes that were on there, you bit into them. The tomatoes almost felt like they were still juicy, right? They were delicious. And I think that again, the combination with all the ingredients, it was just a perfect bite.
And it was funny because it was the first pizza of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
sometimes it's the worst. You're the first one, now you set the bar and everything else behind it. You know, again, we were always comparing, but we literally sat all day long saying it goes back to Lou's. Every single time we stopped, it went back to Lou's.
I kind of wanted almost to like something else today because I'm like, what else is out there? Like I've had all of these, but like, you know, years apart, I don't really remember them too well. But coming back at it, I can confidently say Lou Malnati's is my number one.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing too is I think that when you look at the progression, if we call out that Uno's was the original.
Uno's was great too.
Right?
A lot of these
Uno's was really great.
A lot of these were
then we had Gino's East, which Gino's East was family that went on to Bartoli.
Yep.
With Uno's, it was Lou Malnati's and it was Pizano's, right? So all of a sudden, we started grouping these together and you could see where their heritage came from.
Really interesting. You really could see it.
And you could see that they said, well, if we were going to do this ourselves, what would we do? And these small improvements or these tweaks that were made to make them individual.
It's respecting tradition but innovating in their own way.
Exactly.
And you could really see that.
And I think there was a really cool way that we did this today and the way you organized all these different locations to go to them. I think this is realistic. If anybody was coming to Chicago, or if you live in Chicago, that you could literally say, I'm gonna spend 4 or 5 hours, travel around, and I'm gonna hit all these spots one after another like we did. And again, really understand where we got all of this information from, because it was really truly a clear winner of all of them with some really close second, third, fourth place, and then the bottom seemed like it was always the bottom, right? We knew which ones we definitely did.
I think
like.
you guys know too, but comment below, let us know what you guys think.
Absolutely.
Remember, we're just two guys. We're one opinion here. I know you guys aren't here eating the pizzas with us, but if you have another opinion, we'd like to hear it, right? We're opening the convo.
Absolutely, and this is, again, you know, I'm not a pizza expert by any means, but I've eaten a lot of pizza in my life.
He's not a pizza expert by any means. I'm gonna have to challenge that one, dude.
But again, I think that to be non-biased, to go into these places saying, if I was gonna make a pizza myself or eat a pizza, I'm gonna nitpick these just like I would anything else. And it was really a great day, man. Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Hug it out, brother.
Thanks, bro.
Well, tell the people they can find you. What are you working on?
Guys, I'm if you're on YouTube, you can find me at The Pizza Garage. If you're on social media, you can find me at Ask Chef Leo. I'm always around, always open restaurants around the country. If you're at a trade show and you see me, I would love to say hi to you. If not, drop me a line and let's chat.
You guys already know the dizzle. If you like the video, give it a like, ski sub to the channel. If you are new to the channel, if you like this video, if you like deep dish pizza, I don't know, let us know. Do you think we should make like a different, like a tavern style crawl, a pan pizza style crawl, a stuffed pizza crawl?
I would sign up for all 3 of those.
I think we might have to do it. I think we might have to do it, but let us know. And
ciao, guys.
Yeah, until next time. Good morning.
Peace.
Dude, you gotta wiggle them.
Wait, what does the wiggle do?
Exactly.